All right, back at it now. Here we go. All right, you're ready to keep at it right now. Don Brown, former U.S. Navy Judge Advocate General. I bring him in because he was a special assistant U.S. attorney, best-selling author, Democracy at Gunpoint. The new book, Kangaroo Court, exposing prosecutors' plot to hijack the 2024 election. Well, they didn't get a chance to do that. They didn't get a chance to do that because, well, it was too big to rig. Don, welcome to the program.
Steve, good to be with you this morning. Thanks for having me. It's a
Glad
great day.
to have you here. Yeah, great day. A huge day. It's a historic day. Glad I was part of it. I mean, I've been on the road with Donald Trump at a number of these events. I was in Madison Square Garden. I was in, well, now that I think about it, it was just yesterday morning, early, that I was in Grand Rapids where he wrapped up his campaign with a stop at Van Andel Arena. He didn't leave the stage until just after 2 in the morning, so we haven't slept much around here. We're running on fumes, and that's okay. That is okay.
You need to take a couple of days, man, and have a stogie, go down to the beach and regroup and come back at it, Steve.
Well, you know, the beach in Michigan in November, not really what you have in mind. But the good news is, honestly, Don, we're not in court. But here's what was played exceptionally well by the Republicans this time around, and Michael Whatley, brilliant. Lara Trump, brilliant. Whenever anything popped up, they weren't waiting around to react. They were on top of it. A huge difference from where we were in 2020 in the COVID scam. Now I wonder if we're going to dig deeper and find out what the truth is about the COVID scam and what it means for actually litigating 2020 and see if it was true or not. But as far as litigating this election, don't need to do that. Donald Trump is going to be at 312 electoral votes. If it's not a landslide, it certainly is a mandate, isn't it?
It certainly is a steel boot up the derriere of the Democrats, if nothing else, and they deserve it. So I hope that this is going to turn this country around. We've got an opportunity now with a mandate. It is certainly an electoral mandate, certainly a popular vote mandate, and it's a great day to be an American. And we just thank the Lord for it, and we'll move forward from here.
Yeah, move forward from here. What do you think we take away from this? I mean, it's a repudiation to me of all these leftist policies, of all these open borders and transgenderism and mutilating children's perfectly fine as long as we identify properly. You know, men playing in women's sports, giving piles of money to illegal aliens in New York City and all over this country, or piles of money to Ukraine to fight a war that should be funded by Europe, not by us. And the list just goes on and on. It's a repudiation of all of this crazy leftist nonsense and identity politics. Boy, is identity politics dead today, because if it were not for black men and black women and Hispanic voters, Donald Trump wouldn't have won, not in the fashion that he did. He won the popular vote, too, by the way, 51-47. He's way out ahead in the popular vote, millions of votes ahead. Remarkable, right?
We learned that the American people can see through the junk. My book that was just released, Kangaroo Court, I talk about a number of political prosecutions which the Democrats have used as a weapon. Since Tom DeLay, they prosecuted Rick Perry for vetoing a bill, prosecuted the governor of Virginia, Bob McDonnell, which was reversed 8-0 by the Supreme Court. But during these bogus Trump prosecutions from Florida to Georgia to New York or wherever, or even in Colorado where they try to take him off the ballot under the 14th Amendment, the American people did not buy the junk that they were selling. The American people could see. When you overplay your hand, and the Democrats have done that, you think the American people are fools. And I think the constant insults going all the way back to Hillary calling us deplorables, to Biden calling us garbage, to her referring to us as Nazis, or to the president as Nazis or fascists or Hitler or whatever. I think they overplay their hand, and people can see through it. And this is a repudiation against the Democrat Party, against all the woke that you mentioned, against forcing men into women's sports, against government-funded transgender, and against that in the military. And the people just said enough is enough. And it was a sweet thing. It's a sweet thing to see Michigan swinging back in the right direction, Pennsylvania. The entire blue wall crumbled, and there's not even a close call. So I think it is It's a statement that you can fool the people some of the time, but you can't fool the people all the time. The farther you go, Democrats, the more you're going to get repudiated. And it's a great day for the United States Constitution. These political prosecutions, as they currently stand, are going to end, and and we're going to get back to the business of massive deregulation. You mentioned the COVID scam. I'm telling you, I've been involved in federal prosecution with some of these vaccines. It's amazing what the government has held from us. A lot of truth is going to come out over the next 4 years. We have to pray for the president's safety, but it's going to be a new day in America. Morning in America, as President Reagan used to say, and morning in America has come today, Steve.
It certainly has. I'm disappointed right now to see that Mike Rogers has fallen just slightly behind Alyssa Slotkin in the Senate race here in Michigan. Michigan is going to be checked into the column of Donald Trump. And I thought we were going to get that Senate. It'll be the first time in a century, if it plays out this way, more than a century, that the top of the ticket doesn't get the Senate candidate in the same place. Right now it's about 4,500 votes. Still some votes to come in. I'm not going to count this out yet because there are still votes to come in some different places. Maybe some mail-in ballots, whatever it might be. But Mike Rogers is going to need a little bit of help here to get across the finish line. He won.
State of Michigan, it's been a great full circle. You know, the whole cheating started in Antrim County. You know better than me. You're a Michigander. Antrim County, and then it swept down to the corrupt Democrat machine in Wayne County and Detroit in 2020. And we're going to continue to pull for our local candidates, our Senate candidates there. But to see Michigan pop blue, you know, take note, Democrats. And we got to get that crazy governor and that crazy AG out of office out there, Steve.
Well, I can tell you this. Whitmer had a very bad night in Michigan. Except that she wants to run for president in 4 years. So in that regard, she had a good night. Because if Kamala Harris had been elected, obviously she'd been out for 8 years. But she had a bad night. She lost statewide. There's at least 4 seats, maybe 5, in the state house. Looks like they'll flip back to the Republicans, which means her next 2 years, she has no power to do any of the nonsense. Still waiting on state Senate results. But it's pretty clear that she had a bad night. America had a good night. She did not. I'll give you the last word.
I think that what we saw is full circle for freedom. And the United States Constitution has been under assault. My book, I'll just show up, Kangaroo Court, just released by Post Hill Press. I'm talking about the assault the Constitution has been under by these political prosecutions. But the Constitution has been under assault by the Democrat Party, by woke politicians, and by rhinos as well for a number of years. But the re-election of President Trump is an opportunity to begin to reverse that and to embrace what it was that the Founding Fathers gave their blood for.
That's right.
For a constitutional republic where we can speak freely, we can worship freely, and not have to worry about the big nanny state breathing down our backs. It's a time to return to freedom, and this is an opportunity to embrace where we've been and where we're going, and it's one of the greatest days in American history.
Greatest comeback, maybe, politically since Richard Nixon, that's for sure. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Steve. See you next time. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Still ahead, the mental breakdown of the left. It's coming. We'll talk about it. I'll be your counselor.